यस्यान्तर्नादिमध्यं न हि करचरणं नाम गोत्रं न सूत्रं नो जातिर्नैव वर्णं न भवति पुरुषो नो नपुंसं न च स्त्री। स्वामिन् नमस्ते नतलोकबन्धो कारुण्यसिन्धो पतितं भवाब्धौ मामुद्धरात्मीयकटाक्षदृष्ट्या ऋज्व्यातिकारुण्य सुधाभिवृष्ट्या। स्वामिन् नमस्ते, स्वामिन् नमस्ते, स्वामिन् नमस्ते, स्वामिन् नमस्ते। जय गुरु, जय गुरु, जय गुरु। So we are again together and we will identify ourselves with the Shishya sitting at the feet of the Guru and asking questions. And Guru, the Sadguru, is replying with lot of compassion. Yesterday we saw that just like Ashtavakra, sage Ashtavakra told Janaka Raja that if you want mukti, then all the objective world, which is all objects of enjoyment, the Vichayas, then those you should renounce, leave aside, throw them away, just like as you would throw poison. And instead, you should worship the good qualities. And he talked about qualities like Shama, Arjava, Daya, Tosha, Satyam, and here in Vivekachoodamani, Prashanti and Danti, that is the quietness, calmness of the mind and restraint of the senses, those also he has added. So anyway, we understand that we have to grow and cultivate good qualities in the mind so that the mind is not agitated. See, again I would say that why are we wanting to cultivate these qualities? What is the relationship with self-realization? And we have seen again and again that unless the mind is pure, unless by the purity of the mind, which comes about by attenuating the desires and also growing qualities which help the mind to become restful, only then the self, which is there already, always revealed, which we are not able to see because of the deflections in the mind, because of the agitations in the mind, the disturbances of the mind, we are able to see when the mind is pure. So, what will happen if we realize the self? Why should we realize the self at all? That also we should never forget. In the first lecture, first talk, we had discussed this thoroughly, that only by realizing the self, we can go across or we can cross over the miseries of life. We can become fearless, unaffected always, in whichever situation we are. And I think all of us want that. We do not want affliction in life. We always want happiness and peace in life. We do not want to be suffering, misery. So, this is our aim, to realize the self. You know, the Guru tells the Shishya that these vasanas, the desires, they come and they completely sway you away. And he has told us how the rajasic tendencies of the mind, we find that we are having so many kinds of, hatred, competition, anger, impatience, intolerance, all these things which always agitate the mind. If tamasic vrittis are predominant, then we have lethargy, laziness, excessive sleep, dullness of the mind. And if we have sattva guna predominantly, then we would always like calmness, quietness. We will always be attached to knowing, knowledge. So all these things bind us. So the Guru is saying, I think this sloka is 325. This sloka I would like all of you to remember, learn and chant to yourselves. Lakshachyutam ched yadi chittamishad.
Lakshachyutam ched yadi chittamishad.
Bahirmukham sannipatet tatastataha.
Bahirmukham sannipatet tatastataha.
Pramadatah pratyuta kelikandukaha.
Pramadatah pratyuta kelikandukaha.
Sopana pangtau patito yatha tatha.
Sopana pangtau patito yatha tatha.
Lakshachyutam ched yadi chittamishad.
Lakshachyutam ched yadi chittamishad.
Ishad means even a little bit. If the mind falls from the aim or forgets the aim. So that is why we should always remember the aim. Why I am in this spiritual path. If we do not understand what is self-realization, we have not understood. But at least we know that a mind has to be made pure to slowly reach that state where the self will be revealed. So we have to purify our mind. So this aim, Lakshya, we should constantly remember. Remember when? Doing everything. Right from the time we have got up in the morning to the time we go to bed at night, we should remember the aim. Doing all actions, thinking many things, interacting and talking with anybody. This aim should not be lost. Yes, it will go away from the mind. I understand. But then, make a habit of remembering it. Make a habit of reminding yourself. And again tell the mind that don't forget, this is the aim. If we do so, then what will happen? Whatever activities we are doing, whatever thoughts are there in the mind, when we are talking to people, maybe we are just sitting by ourselves alone. Whatever we are doing, we will remember the aim. And we will be able to understand where we need to cultivate good qualities, or if we have them, where we need to strengthen those qualities, and which are the traits we have to completely reject and renounce. So this Lakshya, to remember the Lakshya, is absolutely necessary. If you fall from the Lakshya, then what will happen? Fall from the Lakshya means what? We are telling that please focus your mind on the spiritual growth, on the self, where we have to ultimately reach, on your sadhana, on purifying yourself. But instead, if we allow our mind to go to various attractions of life through our senses, the senses are always pulling us to different objects of enjoyment. And they are saying, come, enjoy me. You will get a lot of happiness. Why do you want to spend time in rumination? Why do you want to look into yourself? See, we are outside. We are here like a shop or a mall, spreading so many enjoyments for you. Why don't you enjoy? So the world will be constantly calling us and alluring us. If we allow the mind to go to that, that is, we have forgotten our aim. We take to short-lived pleasures. Then what will happen? First day it will go like this. Second day it will go like this. Maybe you have a habit of reading spiritual books. Maybe you have a habit of meditating at least once a day. Maybe you have a habit of sitting and ruminating. But if your mind gets distracted and you leave those habits and take to other enjoyments, allow the mind to spend the time in other things, not thinking of the self, not thinking what attainment you will have if you tread this path, and what is the ultimate goal, the unaffectedness, fearlessness. Then what will happen? The mind, seeing that you have relaxed it, will go to another object of enjoyment the next day or the next moment. Like that, from the self, the mind will constantly go away to the different objects of the world, objects of enjoyment, which will ultimately take you away from your goal, will not make you feel that yearning anymore, and you will be lost in the ocean of misery, because all that you are doing now, all the objects of enjoyment, they are short-lived, changeless, and they never can give any permanent happiness to you. In spite of knowing, we allow our mind to go away from our aim. So this shloka is saying, if lakshyachyutam ched yadi chittam ishad, if your mind falls from your aim, bahirmukham sannipatet tatastataha, what will happen? The mind will start going outward, because you are not restraining it, you are not allowing it not to go. You have relaxed, so it has gone out. So it will see this thing, it will see that thing, very enjoyable. So it will go, it will become bahirmukhi, it will go outside, outward it will go. And the example is given, very beautiful example. It says, pramadata prachyuta keli kandukaha sopana pantau patito yathadata. Just like, suppose a man wants to play with a ball, and he's taken a ball and he's going. Where is he going? To a field where his friends are waiting for him. A boy, maybe, young boy. Friends are waiting there, and he has the ball, so he is going, holding the ball and going. Just the field is below, and you have to go down some steps, flight of staircase, and go to the field. So you have reached that field, staircase, the first step of the stairs. And there, while holding the ball, suddenly you become inattentive. Inattentive by seeing what? It can be anything. Maybe a very beautiful car went that way and you tried to see what is the make of the car. Or maybe a beautiful bird flew away and you thought, oh, I have not seen this bird any time. So whatever it is, it can be any other things. And you have become inattentive. By inattention, what has happened? You're holding the ball, the clasp that you had suddenly relaxed, because you were not careful enough that the ball has to be taken in the hands properly and tightly. So what happens? The ball gets loosened from the hold of your hands, and it falls on the step. And when it falls, you know what happens? It has fallen on one step, it had bounced and fallen in the next step, it has fallen on the next step, and like that it has fallen, it has gone to the end, and it has gone. Maybe it will go and fall into some kind of water if it is there, or maybe it has gone into bushes, and you have lost the ball. Example is given like this. So it is a very good example, and it is saying pramadataha, by inattention. By inattention, because you were inattention, you have lost the ball and you cannot fulfill what you had come for. You cannot go and play with the friends anymore. Similarly, if we fall from our aim, allow the mind not to be focused on the self and thought of self and the aim that we have, the mind will simply go and get completely merged with all the worldly objects, which will ultimately give you pain and misery. So the Guru is again and again cautioning, and he is also saying, see, all these traits that one has, it is all from deep vasana. Because of vasana, say a person has rajasic traits, competition, jealousy, pride, all of those. It can happen in profession. You can have competition, jealousy with your colleagues. In the students will have them. Even in an ashram it may happen. Between the shishyas it may happen. Then one is competitive with the other, doesn't understand that, or the good quality that, oh, X is very good in this thing, let X do that. Accepting the fact that I am not good in this area, so it's okay that I am not told to do this. But what happens is the mind becomes competitive, mind becomes jealous. I'll tell you a story. Shankaracharya, after writing the Bhashya for Veda, Brahma Sutra, he told Sureshwaracharya to write a Vartika for it. What is Vartika? Vartika is another commentary. Bhashya is one commentary, and after that further commentaries are written. So Vartika is the commentary for a Bhashya. Shankaracharya had 4 main disciples: Padmapadacharya, Sureshwaracharya, Totakacharya, and Hastamalaka. Now Sureshwaracharya, he was a householder, a great householder, given to lot of karmas, that is rituals. But it was decided that Shankaracharya and Sureshwaracharya, at that time he was Mandana Mishra, they will have arguments with each other, and whoever wins, the other will take to the ashrama of that person. That is, if Shankaracharya was defeated, he will take to Grihastha and follow Sureshwaracharya. If that is Mandana Mishra, if Mandana Mishra was defeated, then Mandana Mishra will be taking up sannyasa and follow Shankaracharya as his guru. And it so happened that Mandana Mishra was defeated. So he became a disciple of Shankaracharya. He was very learned. Now, his name was given as Sureshwaracharya, leaving the name Mandana Mishra. Shankaracharya felt that Mandana Mishra, with his scholarliness, is the best person to write a Vartika for Brahma Sutra Bhashya. But Padmapadacharya, who was the first disciple, and he had come to Shankaracharya at a very young age, so he has lived with Shankaracharya for a long time, he became jealous. He went and told Shankaracharya that, "Oh Lord, I think you are doing a mistake by asking Sureshwaracharya to write this Vartika. I feel, sir, that you alone can write the Vartika. So please, don't ask him to write. You write the Vartika for Brahma Sutra Bhashya. And another thing, oh Lord, he has been a householder for so many years. Only now he has renounced and taken to sannyasa. What will he understand of Brahma Sutra? Does he have the capability? Now Shankaracharya understood that Padmapadacharya's mind is smitten by jealousy and competition because he was not asked. So he did not say anything. He said, okay, I will think. He called Sureshwaracharya and said, my son, I think people are getting jealous that I have asked you to write. And then they also have a doubt whether you are competent enough to write this Vartika. So you do one thing, you write a book explaining this Advaita Jnana and how it is attained. And then we will talk. Sureshwaracharya very soon wrote Naishkarmya Siddhi, a book which talks of very highest spiritual Advaita Jnana. And when that was written, all other disciples, they were amazed. So see, that Sureshwaracharya understands this Vedanta so well. And Padmapadacharya, what happened to him? He was very, very ashamed, very embarrassed and ashamed. He understood that he had unnecessarily doubted. Doubted whom? He doubted Sureshwaracharya. But actually he has doubted his Guru. If the Guru has said that X can write the Vartika, then he should have faith in the Guru. Guru must be understanding the capability and eligibility of that person to write whatever he has asked him to write. But doubting and thinking wrongly that Guru has not understood the capability of this person, he had gone and told like this. And because of this, no Vartika was ever written. Shankaracharya said, if I could have written it, I would have written it. Why should I tell Sureshwaracharya? So that is Naishkarmya Siddhi. So this, these traits, jealousy, then competition, ego, pride, intolerance, hatefulness, all these are traits which will not allow one to progress even in one step. One may feel with pride that whatever I say, I decide, that is very good. Others are not able to decide like me or suggest like me. So these things, every seeker, it is not that and not enough that you only meditate and read the Shastras or study the Shastras. Even if you do manana, what is this manana? You have to understand and reflect it into yourself. So every Shastra will tell you to purify your mind, and every seeker has to do it. There is no other way to go forward. So to do that, what do we have to have? Vichara. Vichara we have to have. What kind of Vichara? Very sharp Viveka. See, that Yoga Vasishtha sloka is there. Vichara tikshnatam dhihi pashyati param padam dirgha samsara rogasya vicharo hi mahaushadam. Vasishtha tells Sri Rama that Vichara should be sharpened. That is, the buddhi and intelligence has to be sharpened by Vichara. Dhihi pashyati param padam. When the buddhi becomes very sharpened, then only it understands the self which is revealed always, and it gets reflected in the buddhi. So the buddhi is able to understand the self is revealed. Otherwise, how will you, if you are having inattention in doing little things, where have you kept your thing, or you have not applied your mind, if you have inattention in your everyday behavior and you do not apply your mind or effort to get out of those inattention in small things, how will you have attention where so much of sukshmata is necessary to know the self? That is why it is absolutely necessary. Here in Vivekachoodamani there is a sloka which tells Ativa Sukshmam Paramatma Tattvam Nasthula Drishtya Pratipattum Arhati Samadhina Atyanta Susukshma Britya Jnatavya Maryai Rati Shuddha Buddhivihi Ativa Sukshmam Paramatma Tattvam. It is 360. Ativa Sukshmam Paramatma Tattvam Nasthula Drishtya Pratipattum Arhati Samadhina Atyanta Susukshma Britya Jnatavya Maryai Rati Shuddha Buddhivihi. Only when the buddhi becomes Sukshma and Shuddha, pure and Sukshma. Atyanta Susukshma Britya. The samadhi, you try for samadhi. When we meditate, what is our aim? To get into samadhi, where you are conscious. You have not got into a laya, that is where you don't understand anything. You understand. And you take to that position of the sakshi or the drashta, which is understanding everything, including your mind, your buddhi, your ego, and everything else what is happening. So, by vichara, that samadhi has to become very, very sukshma. It is a sukshma vritti of the buddhi in samadhi. So, ativa sukshmam paramatma tattvam. This paramatma tattva is very, very subtle. Na sthula drishtya pratipatyum arhati. If your drishti only goes to the sthula is what? Gross things. Other things by which you get sukha, where you do not have to try and make effort to go inside and sit there, where you will get ananda. Why do we make so much of effort? I can get ananda by going somewhere, by eating something, reading something, watching something. Why should I make that effort where I have to sit in meditation, take my mind inward, and as soon as I sit, so many thoughts start coming. Although I want to go inward, but no thought is allowing me to go inward. They keep on disturbing me. They will keep on disturbing you. Unless throughout the day, your day has been meditative even while doing activity. You get me? Your day has to become meditative even while doing activity. Whatever you do, connect yourself to the source inside you. Only when we have to read something, we have to talk, say take a class or some discussion is going on which is necessary, only when the mind is engaged, at that time we cannot think maybe. But even in between that, for half a second, just for a nimesha, we can think that all that I am doing, I am seeing it. I as a drashta, I am seeing myself in action. Immediately you have thought about the self and you have gone back to the self. So this sukshma paramatma tattva, you have to give lot of effort in making your mind calm, in restraining your senses, in giving effort, going beyond tamas, the dullness, the lethargy, all those things, pramada, you have to go beyond them. And that is how you go into the core of your realization, your consciousness. Shankaracharya tells a very beautiful sloka. Vishuddha sattvasya gunah prasadaha svatmanubhuti parama prashantihi triptih praharsha paramatmanistha yaya sadanandarasam samrichati. Vishuddha sattvasya gunah prasadaha Svatmanubhuti Parama prashantihi. 119. Arvindan got 119. Tripti praharsha paramatmanishtha yaya sadanandarasam samrichyati. So, our everyday effort, apart from meditation on the self, trying to get into samadhi, apart from this, our everyday effort should be to become a Vishuddha Sattva. Not even Sattva. A Sattva Guni, he will be attached and disturbed by Sattva. What is that? He would always like peacefulness, calmness around, because he may be meditating or he may be reading a book, spiritual book, or simply thinking. So he needs a calm atmosphere. So he will be very disturbed if someday that calmness is not there, not available. Even here it happens. Some devotees who come thinking that ashram is a very, very quiet place. And when I go, I will have lot of lectures and calmness and everything. But maybe by chance that time is a very hectic, activity-full time here in the ashram. So, the devotee who has come, who has lot of sattva guna, that is why he is wanting to read, listen, do manana, do meditation. He finds a different atmosphere. He won't come anymore. He will feel that this place is not good for me. It is better to sit in the house and do all these things. So even the sattva guna binds, and any bondage causes agitation. So be Vishuddha Sattva. If you are Vishuddha Sattva, how will you know? You have to cultivate these qualities. What are these qualities? Prasadaha. That is prasannata of the mind. Mind should be placid. Svatmanubhutihi. A person who has become Vishuddha Sattva and is trying to become, he'll start having Svatmanubhuti. At certain points, certain times, he will be able to feel your Atma. Maybe you have not become established in that. Maybe still many kinds of vasanas and vikshepas come. But still he will be able to feel it. Parama prashantihi. Supreme peace you will be able to feel in yourself. Triptihi. Contentment. Praharshaha. Extreme delight. Paramatma nishtha. The nishtha, the steadfastness, that not forgetting the aim, to pursue this path, all that will be gracing you more and more. Yaya, by which Sadanandarasam samrichyati. Yaya, Sadanandarasam samrichyati. Sada anandarasam. You will be getting always. Sada means always, unbrokenly. Anandarasam. So by cultivating this Vishuddha Sattva state, by making effort to keep the mind peaceful, placid, and tranquil. So yaya sadanandarasam samrichyati. So in developing these qualities and getting seated in them, as you grow in these qualities, what will happen? You will be getting sada anandarasam, the delight, nectarine delight, and unbroken nectarine delight. So, what you should do actually? What we should do is that, first of all, purify the mind. We should try to attain this Vishuddha Sattva state, and in doing so, we keep on rejecting our undesirable traits which disturb us, and we know it very well. What are our undesirable traits which disturbs us, sometimes gives us a lot of sorrow? Say, if we are annoyed with somebody or irritated with somebody or we have shouted at somebody, we feel very unhappy later. Maybe for 1 or 2 days we'll feel, why did I do like this? So all our undesirable traits give us a lot of misery. So those have to be rejected. The good traits which lead you to the restfulness of the mind have to be cultivated and strengthened. If you all have them already, have strengthened them. You cannot say that I do not know which are my undesirable traits. You are no seeker then. Just now I told you about this sloka, Ativa Sukshmam Paramatma Tattvam, and Nasthula Drishtya Patipatyum Arhati Samadhina Atyanta Sushukna Vritya Jnatavyam Aryai Ati Shuddha Buddhibhihi. So, the mind by Vichara and looking into oneself, truly looking into oneself, not sugarcoating at all, not giving justification for one's own thoughts, actions and words, truly understanding that these are the traits, catching them and understanding and admitting to oneself that this is why my mind sometimes gets agitated, disturbed, and I am not able to remove them. When the mind becomes very, very sukshma, by the tikshnata, by the sharpness, you know what happens? Every movement of your mind and buddhi you will understand. Who is understanding? Who is understanding? The self, the witness, the drashta. By samadhi we do only that. By samadhi we take the position of the drashta and understand what the mind is engaged in, buddhi is engaged in, etc., etc. So, as we go deep and deep into samadhi, along with that we go deeper and deeper in vichara. Along with that, we keep on trying and making effort to make ourselves pure and purer. Then, what will happen? The vasana will be will be gone. All the vasanas slowly will be attenuated, and we will have Sadhananda rasam. So what we should do? Bhakyanusandhi parivardhayet phalam 334. Bhakyanusandhi parivardhayet phalam.
Bhakyanusandhi parivardhayet phalam.
Durvasanameva tatasthatodhikam.
Durvasanameva tatasthatodhikam.
Jnatva vivekaih parihritya bahyam.
Jnatva vivekaih parihritya bahyam.
Svatmanusandhim vidadhita nityam.
Svatmanusandhim vidadhita nityam.
When the mind is disturbed, you should tell this sloka to yourself. And don't allow the mind to go outward. Bhakyanusandhi parivardhayet phalam. See, the bhakyanusandhi, that is the pleasure in interacting with objects of enjoyment. As they grow, as your desire to interact with all the outside objects to get some happiness increases, then what will happen? Durvasanameva tatasthathodhikam. It will lead from one vasana to another, and durvasana. Those are vasanas which are making you go outward. It is not a vasana, moksha vasana. It is not a moksha vasana. It is not an Atma vasana. It is a durvasana. Because it is taking your mind away. So what he will do? Jnatva vivekaihi. Vivekaihi jnatva. Bahyam parihritya. Apply your Viveka. Immediately, see, as you sharpen the Viveka, immediately it will be able to catch you. See, my mind is going to external objects so much that I am going away from my core. It will protect you. The Viveka will protect you. That is the Guru's grace. Because you have made effort to make Viveka sharp, Guru's Kripa will also be there for you. The effort is oneself. Just like in the beginning, Shankaracharya says that if you are sick, you have to take medicine. If you ask somebody else to take medicine on your behalf, you will not be cured. Or you simply sit somewhere and say that I have to take medicine, I have to take medicine. But really, even if the medicine is given here on the table or in your hand, you have to take it, put in your mouth, and you have to swallow it. Up to that swallowing, if you are not doing, who will protect you? Who will save you? So the Viveka has to be applied. The Viveka, when the Guru sees that the Shishya is making effort and Viveka is being applied, the whole buddhi and mind, this vritti will become so sharp. Immediately you will understand where your mind is going on a wrong way. Durvasana, that is why it is called Durvasana. So, Vivekaihi jnatva bahyam parihritya swatmanusandhim vidadhita nityam. What you should do? Should leave this thoughts which take you outward. It may not be any activity, it may be thoughts. As it happens when we sit for meditation, so many thoughts come, and maybe while sitting you will think of the office, something had happened, then tomorrow I have to do this, or I have to be more careful in this. Will I get a promotion? Your mind has gone away. So catch it, bring it back. Catch it, bring it back. This is the Abhyasa. As in Bhagavad Gita it is said, Abhyasena, this is the Abhyasa. So Swatma anusandhim vidadhita nityam. That Swatma anusandhi, you let your mind be focused on the Atma, or let your mind think about the Atma. Bahye niruddhe manasa prasannata. Next one, 335. Bahye niruddhe manasa prasannata.
Bahye niruddhe manasa prasannata.
This shloka says this, that if you are able to catch your mind going away outward, then, and if you are able to do that again and again, what will happen? What will the result of that? The mind will slowly become placid, restful. Because you are not allowing it to go and play. You are constantly trying to put it on your Atma Chintana, thought on the self, and trying to make it restful. See, like children. A child, you have taken the child to the cot, small child, you are wanting the child to sleep off. Initially the child will constantly want to get up and go for playing. Then the mother will pat and sing some rhymes or songs or some nice hymns. Slowly, the child will sleep off, become restful. For quite some time, the child will be restless and asking question maybe, or showing tantrums, trying to get up and run away. So many things will happen. The mind is like that. You have to catch it and bring back. And if you keep on doing it for some time, you will find the mind will understand and remain restful. So, I am not doing it fully. These two lines are to be remembered. Why remember? Why we should remember? Why we should do at all the sadhana? We must remember. See, a student studies. Nobody has to say that you have to study because you have to write the exams and you should get good marks and pass. So that remains at the back of his mind. So like a student, we must be always remembering why we are treading this path, but we forget. So if you know one or two sentences like this, you can remind yourself. Bahye niruddhe manasa prasannata manaprasade paramatma darshanam. Only this much is enough. And if the mind is calm and restful, the soul will be revealed. Paramatma darshanam. This will definitely happen. And a seeker who has Shama, Dhamma, Viveka, Vairagya, Mumuksha, practices Samadhi, ultimately what happens? He will dance in Swasya Sarvatma Bhavam. I'm not going into that shloka. That shloka is 355. Shanto Danta Paramuparataha Shanti Yukta Samadhim Kurvan Nityam Kalayati Yati Swasya Sarvatma Bhavam. So if you have Shantata attained by your practicing Shama, Danta, practicing Dhamma, and Paramuparataha, you have Uparati, you have Shanti, and you are practicing Samadhi, what will happen? What will be the result of that? 355. Kurvan Nityam, doing all this, the Yati, the ascetic, will be dwelling in Swasya Sarvatma Bhavam. By once, he will be seeing himself in everything. He will find the same self in everything. Tena vidya timira janitan sadhu dagdhva vikalpan brahma kritya nivasiti sukham nishkriyo nirvikalpaha. And all the ignorance will simply dissolve and he will be peacefully in bliss of Brahman. Now, what are we to do? We have understood that we have to keep the thought of Atma always. Always we have to think of Atma. We will forget, no doubt. But our aim should be that. Aim should be that the mind should not go and get scattered in the worldly objects and get lost. It should try to focus on our own core, the Atma. So, this one shloka that I am going to say, even if you do not learn the other shlokas I have told, this one you must write down in big letters in your room. Get a printout, big printout, and write in different walls. You know, when I used to, the other day, Namrata was telling you that I have a love for learning shlokas. So when Swamiji started teaching me, I used to write the shlokas in a piece of paper, even in the kitchen. Those days I used to cook Swamiji's food. So while cooking or while doing kitchen work, I would be looking at the shlokas and by hearting them. And as I said yesterday, that time the memory power was quite good. So within 2-3 days I will learn. And now, not only I don't learn, even if I have learned, I forget them. So that is the condition. But that doesn't matter at all. Shlokas do not matter. Chanting doesn't matter. To be able to sing doesn't matter. To be able to speak well doesn't matter. What matters is that whether you are in Atma Sthiti always, whether you are seated in yourself, whether wherever you look at, whatever you do not get disconnected from your soul. That is what matters. That is the end. And we are discussing all this to reach that end. Everything else are means, not the end. That has to be remembered. Anatma chintanam tyaktva.
379.
379. Anatma chintanam tyaktva.
Anatma chintanam tyaktva.
Kashmalam dukkha karanam.
Kashmalam dukkha karanam.
Chintayatmanamanandarupam.
Chintayatmanamanandarupam.
Yanmuktikaranam.
Yanmuktikaranam.
Anatma chintanam tyaktva kashmalam dukkha karanam. Chintayatmanamanandarupam. Yanmuktikaranam. So, anatma chintanam tyaktva. Leave your thoughts which go to the worldly objects. Everything else is anatma. The atma, which is the drashta, the witness, everything else, including the mind, buddhi, ego, body, and all other things in the world are anatma. So don't allow your mind to go into them. All that we have discussed till now. It is saying in a very short manner, cryptic manner, in 2 sentences. Why should you leave them? Why should you not think of anatma? Because they are dukkha karanam, they bring about dukkha. Because we are allowing our mind to get identified with all these perishable objects and whatever they give us in their interactions. They are perishable, they are changeful, they do not remain. So, they give us dukkha. Then, what should we do? What should we think? Chintaya. We got another word like that. Brahmanandarasanubhuti kalitaihi Putaiः sushitaiः yutaiः Yushmadvak kalashodjitaiः Shruti sukhaiः Vakyamritaiः sechaya. At that time, the Shishya was saying that drench me with your words. And now the Guru is saying, Chintaya, my dear son, Chintaya. Think, focus, contemplate on what? Atmanam ananda rupam. Atmanam ananda rupam. The Atma, which is Ananda itself. You are getting dukkha from the world, you are saying. You came to me saying that please protect me, save me from all these miseries. Then Chintaya, my dear son, think about, contemplate on Atma's Ananda Rupa. Yan Mukti Karanam, which will liberate you. Which will liberate you. What will you do? All of you who are listening, and maybe some will listen later, I want to tell you, how will we think or contemplate on the soul? How will we? We have to hear. We have to hear. We have to just read loudly. Read loudly. I will chant few shlokas on Atma. Simply listen. Simply listen. Don't think anything. I am telling you this because I have done this. I have done this. And I have got so much of joy, delight. Everything will be forgotten. No worries will be there. No anxiety will be there. You will be drenched in the nectarine words which our sages have been handing down from generation after generation. And we are fortunate enough to even now listen to them. Asangoham, anangoham, alingoham, abhangurah, prashantoham, anantoham, Amaloham chirantanah akartaham abhoktaham akartaham abhoktaham avikaroham akriyah Shuddha bodha swarupoham Kevaloham Sadashivah Narayanoham Narakantakoham Purantakoham Purushohamishah Akhandabodhoham Ashesha Sakshi Nirishwaroham Niraham cha nirmamah Narayanoham Narakantakoham Purantakoham Purushohamishah Akhandabodhoham Ashesha Sakshi Nirishwaroham Niraham cha nirmamah Akashavallepa viduragoham Adityavadbhasya vilakshanoham Aharyavan-nitya vinischaloham Ambodhivat paravivarjitoham Sarvadharam sarvavastu prakasham Sarvakaram sarvagam sarvashunyam Nityam Shuddham Nischalam Nirvikalpam Brahmadvaitam Yat Tadevahamasmi Yat Pratyasta Shesha Maya Vishesham Pratyagrupam Pratyayagamyamanam Satyajnananantamanandarupam Brahmadvaitam Yat Tadevahamasmi Brahmadvaitam Yat Tadevahamasmi Nishkriyosmi avikarosmi Nishkalosmi nirakritihi Nirvikalposmi nityosmi Niralambosmi nirdvayah Sarvatmakoham sarvoham Sarvatitoham advayah Kevalakhandabodhoham Anandoham nirantaraha. I think all of you can just read them. Just read them. Understand the meaning. The meanings are given in the books. Try to understand and assimilate the meanings. And you will be touching the self. If not stable there, in that position, at least there will be that Atma Anubhuti. Atma Anubhuti. The Shishya, after hearing the Guru, when the Guru tells him all these things, the Guru says what a Jivan Mukta is. He says so many lakshanas of Jivan Mukta. And he says, don't think of the past. Don't imagine the future. Be indifferent to both. That is Jivan Mukti. You know, these are to be understood. Why are we always under stress, tension and anxiety? Because we are constantly thinking of the past. Something good or bad, whatever had happened in the past, we'll think on that, think about that. Or we will keep on imagining the future, which has not happened, and get affected. Unaffectedness we want. Our soul is unaffected, changeless, imperishable. But we keep on thinking of the past and the future. So we have to be disinterested in both. Live in the present. Do whatever is necessary to be done to reach that goal, to reach that destination, the core of ourself, I. And reaching there, nobody will have raga and dvesha. If you are insulted, you will not feel insulted. You will not feel dukkha. If you are praised, you will not be happy. This will be the state. So when the Guru says all these things, what does the Shishya do? He practices them and ultimately he is realized. So at that time, he says, Dhanyoham kritakrityoham vimuktoham bhavagrahat nityanandaswarupoham purnoham tvadanugrahat. This is 488. First he says, I am not able to say how much bliss I have got. I am floating in the ocean of Supreme Brahman, full of ananda, full of nectarine bliss, bliss of the self. And all my ajnana has gone. I am not able to express it, O Lord. But I feel blessed. Dhanyoham, kritakrityoham. In the beginning, when he had asked the question, what did the Guru say? Dhanyosi, kritakrityosi. When he asked the question, the Guru said this. And when he has realized the self, he is floating in the bliss of Brahman. He is finding that everything is Brahman. There is nothing apart from Brahman. He is saying, where has everything gone? I find that I am everywhere. And he says, dhanyoham, kritakrityoham. And he does pranam to the Guru. Namo namaste Gurave Mahatmane Vimukta Sangaya Saduttamaya Nityadvayananda Rasaswarupine Bhumne Sada Paradayam Budhamne. Namo Namaste Gurave Mahatmane. O my Guru, Sadguru, the Mahatma, I do pranam to you. You are Vimukta Sangha, you have no Sangha, and you are the greatest. Nitya Advayananda Rasaswarupine. You are the embodiment of essence of eternal bliss, and you are one without a second. I have realized myself. Then the Guru, he also says, Swarajya Samrajya Vibhutiresha Bhavat Kripa Shri Mahima Prasadat Prapta Maya Shri Gurave Mahatmane Namo Namastestu Punar Namostu. See, he is saying, I am Dhanya. I have attained everything. I am floating in the bliss of nectarine Brahmananda Rasa. And he chants himself all these slokas which I chanted just now. Nishkriyosmi, Avikarosmi, Nishkalosmi, Nirakritihi. I would tell all of you to go into these slokas. I don't think we are showing it in the screen, and I have no time to take this and explain to you. But get it from somewhere if you do not have a book. And Sarvatmakoham Sarvoham Sarvatitoham Advayah Kevalakhandabodhoham Anandoham Nirantaraha Namastasmai Sadaikasmai Kasmai Chinmahase Namaha Yadetad Vishwarupena Rajate Guru Rajate Namastasmai Sadaikasmai Kasmai Chinmahase Namaha Yadetad Vishwarupena Rajate Guru Rajate. See, we are so blessed to have had a Sadguru. Who has accepted us, who has kept his hands on our head, saying, Ma Bhishta, no fear is there for you. Hold my hand. I will take you across the worldly ocean. I will let you understand what this self is, that you alone, the self which is imperishable, eternal, and you are the universal self. You alone is everything. We are so blessed. It is for us to make effort purifying ourselves. And when the Guru sees the Shishya is doing pranam again and again, he is not even able to express the blessedness that he has received. Then the Guru says, remain in this state, always be stable in this feeling. Brahma pratyaya santatir jagatato brahmaiva tat sarvatah pashyadhyatmadrisha prashanta manasa sarvasvavasthasvapi रूपादन्यदवेक्षितं किमभितश्चक्षुष्मतां दृश्यते तद्वद्ब्रह्मविदः सतः किमपरं बुद्धेर्विहारास्पदम् ब्रह्मप्रत्ययसन्ततिर्जगदतो. O my son, remain in this state of yours. This feeling that everywhere it is Brahman. There is unbroken series of perceptions of Brahman alone. With your Adhyatma Drishti, your Drishti of spirituality, all the knowledge that you have gained, understand it, feel it, assimilate it, and remain stable in that. When Sarvasu Avasthasu Api, in all situations, in all avasthas, you have to be in that state alone. Kastam parananda rasanubhuti mutsrijya shunyeshu rameta vidwan chandre mahahladini dipyamane chitrendumalokayitum kayachet. He says, my dear son, this is the truth. This is the truth, that you are the self, and self and Brahman are the same. Everything is Brahman. You are the Brahman. So, when you are having this anubhuti, parananda rasanubhuti, which intelligent man, leaving this anubhuti, will try to enjoy the objects of the world? It will be just lying, trying to be happy, seeing a picture of the moon, when you can with your own eyes see the full moon on the sky. No intelligent man will leave that sight and look at the picture. So be stable in that position and roam about in this world like a mukta. What a mukta does? Kvachin mudho vidvan, kvachidapi maharaja vibhavah, kvachid bhrantas saumyah, क्वचिदजगराचार कलितः, क्वचित् पात्रीभूतः, क्वचिदवमतः, क्वाप्यविदितः, चरत्येवं प्राज्ञः सतत परमानन्दसुखितः, क्वचिन्मूढो विद्वान्, क्वचिदपि महाराज विभवः, क्वचिन्भान्तः सौम्यः, क्वचिदजगराचार कलितः, क्वचित् पात्रीभूतः, क्वचिदवमतः, क्वाप्यविदितः, चरत्येवं प्राज्ञः सतत परमानन्दसुखितः. 542. So, a liberated man should move about in this world. He should move about just like an ordinary man. But internally he will be seated in Brahman. Internally he has the knowledge. Everybody from outside will feel that he is a normal man. But inside he will know he is akarta and abhokta. Nothing is affecting him. Nothing is affecting him. Nothing is making his mind affected or afflicted. He is like this. Sometimes he will be looking like a mudha, as if he is a fool. Sometimes everybody will find that, oh no, he is not a fool. He is so scholarly. He is a pandita. Sometimes he will be walking about in a royal, elegant manner. Sometimes not. Kvachid bhrantaha. Sometimes he will be looking as though lost, deluded. Saumyaha. But at other times, he will be looking serene and calm. Kvachid ajagarachara kalitaha. For him, as the python sits somewhere, only when the food, some animal, goes past by the mouth, the python just gulps it. He will be like that. He will not look for food. If somebody brings food, he will take. Kvachit patri bhutaha. Sometimes people will give him lot of praise, maybe a garland, maybe make a very good seat for him to sit. They will ask him to say something, giving lot of honor to him. Kvachit avamataha. And sometimes people will insult him. He will not be affected. Kvapya viditaha. Sometimes he may go somewhere where nobody knows that he is a scholarly person, that he is maybe a very well-known sannyasi or sage. And they will ignore him. He will not be affected. So he will not be affected when he is behaving like a mudha and people are mocking at him. He will not be affected if he is scholarly and people praise him. He will not be affected if people feel that, oh, he stays in a royal manner. If he is behaving like an ignorant man and people laugh at him, he will not be affected. If people start worshipping him when they find that very serene Saumya Sannyasin is sitting, he will not be affected. He is not affected when food comes or not. He is not affected. If he is given lot of honor, praise, many items as offering, he is not affected. He is not affected if he is insulted, ignored, scolded, shouted at. He is not affected. And he is not affected if nobody knows who he is. He just stays. Nobody knows what knowledge he has inside. Doesn't matter. Charatyevam pratyah satata paramananda sukhitaha. He doesn't matter to him because he just goes about, this prajna, the self-realized wise person, satata paramananda sukhitaha, is always happy with Paramananda, having known the self, having known one's own real identity. He is Sukhitaha. The Shishya does pranam again and leaves and goes. The Guru also, having imparted this knowledge and being fulfilled, that his Shishya has been able to take this instruction of his, has tried, made effort, and has realized he also goes his way. We have to become such Shishyas. At least make effort. Always try to bring the mind inward and as far as possible not allow the mind go outward at all. Kvachinmodho vidvan kvachidapi maharaja vibhavah क्वचिद्भ्रान्तः सौम्यः क्वचिदजगराचारकलितः क्वचित्पात्रीभूतः क्वचिदवमतः क्वाप्यविदितः चरत्येवं प्राज्ञः सततपरमानन्दसुखितः चरत्येवं प्राज्ञः सततपरमानन्द Sukhitaha. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. Tomorrow, I'll take up something from Bhagavatam, and you will find we have not gone from one text to another. It will be the same horripilations, same ecstasy, same feeling of fulfillment, same feeling of Guru Bhakti. Everything is same. Okay, Jai Guru.